So here we have Green Mountain Diapers, Clotheez Workhorse Newborn Fitteds. And right here we have the size newborn, which fit my daughter from birth until about 10 pounds. She completely outgrew it by 11 pounds. And then over here we have the size small, which I was able to put her in at birth, especially with the Snapless variety. But she fit in it fine. She really fit in it well from 8 pounds to 13 pounds. And then she outgrew them by 14 pounds. So to give you an idea on the size range that worked for my daughter. As far as the fabrics go, you have your white cotton right here, which is a pre-fold fabric that is soft and not really stretchy at all, but it stands up to a lot of wear and tear and usage. These don't wear out as quickly as a lot of other fabrics will because they're made to be sturdy. So that's the fabric on this one. And over here we have the organic twill, which again is organic pre-fold fabric. Now the difference between the fabrics in these two is the organic will be slightly softer and it will be ever so slightly less absorbent. You won't even notice the difference in absorbency, but it will be a little bit darker. It's more of an off-white instead of a white like the other one is. But after many washes, the oils will wash out of the organic and you won't really be able to tell the difference between the white and the organic fabrics. But with it being newborn diapers, you won't be using them enough to wash out all of the oils from the newborn sizes, unless you get it used and handed down, and many babies have used it. Yeah, so if you like the ever so slightly softer, ever so slightly less absorbent, I personally prefer the color of the organic. So if you like those things, go for the organic. If you don't really care about those things, the white is just as good. It's not lower quality at all. It's just as good quality. It's just it doesn't have the oils in it still that the organic does. And how the fabric is grown is a bit different too, if that's important to you. But quality, they're just as good as each other. As far as closure types go, as you can see here, we have snaps on one, and the other one you can use pins or snappies on to close them. You can also use boingos, or some people don't even put any closure on them at all, and they'll just wrap it up and put it inside of the cover without pinning it or anything. You can also put belly bands or tie closures that people can use on these. The advantages of the no snap closure is that you can change the size. So by rolling down the front, you can change the rise of the diaper, making it much smaller. And at this size right here, you can get this on a 4-pound, 5-pound baby with how small you can get the rise on these diapers. And that's one of the things people love about these is the adjustability is excellent. You're not stuck at any specific snap sizing on the waist. So you can get a perfect waist right here. You can pull in the sides to fit just perfectly if that's what you want. You can just get a really, really beautiful fit on these snapless diapers. You can also, because you can adjust the rise, possibly skip sizes. I personally like to have all the sizes the right size, but if you need to save money and you really love these diapers, you can go up a size. So you could go from newborn to, say, mediums and skip the smalls, and then just fold down the front of the mediums until they fit correctly. So that is the advantage of the Snapless. Advantages of the snapped diapers are that obviously you don't have to use pins, you don't have to use snappies, you don't have to worry about losing those things. It's already right there for you. For me, I liked having the snaps during the night because I like to keep my room dark at nighttime when I'm changing my baby. It helps her to sleep better. It doesn't wake her up as much and she falls back asleep quicker and so on and so forth. So I just have a nightlight on and it's relatively dark. And when I'm doing that, it's much nicer to have snaps that I can just use my fingers and feel where they belong and then snap them without having to see what I'm doing. Whereas when you have pins or snappies, you kind of have to see what you're doing a little bit better. And it's harder to do in the dark. So for me, nighttime diapering, I really liked having snaps. They also have a crossover snap here that you can make these nice and snug. I never had to use the crossovers. I found that once it fit well in the legs, the waist didn't have to have the snap over, but they're there for an option. And then one of the disadvantages, as I've noted before, is that you're stuck into certain snap settings. So this is as wide as it gets. To show you the difference on a snapless of the same size, you can get a much wider waist. So the waist can be much wider on a snapless than it can be on a snapped. And again, you can change the sizing much better on a snapless. So the snapless I was able to get on my newborn much sooner than the ones with the snaps. But like I said, I like the snaps for nighttime. And I also prefer them for when my baby is airing out their bottom. So that I don't have a cover or anything over these. They're going coverless. And for toddlers, it is almost mandatory if you're going coverless to have the snaps because they can pull off their snappies. They can mess with a lot of the pins and pull them off. So it's much safer to have the snaps on your toddlers if you're doing snapless. And with your toddlers, it's also a lot nicer to have the snaps so that you can snap it closed fast. But again, it's a personal preference. Some people, even with their toddlers aren't that hard to diaper, some of them. And after a while, they learn to lie down and sit still while you change their diaper, and it's fine. You don't have to have the snaps on them and do it as quickly as possible. And you can actually do snappies pretty darn quickly. So it just depends upon what you like. I loved using the snapless for daytime use with my newborn so that I could see what I was doing and so that I could get the absolute perfect fit. During the night, I liked the snaps with my newborn so that I didn't have to worry about it. As they get older, I prefer the snaps on my toddlers. Other people still like to have the perfect fit and they like to skip sizes. So depending upon what you need and what you want will depend upon which style works best for you. And sometimes the only way to know that is to try both. So a closer look at the inside of these diapers. You open them up and they've got this nice little tongue inside and it's stitched down in this back area. This back area where it's stitched down does take longer to dry. So just a little bit longer to dry here and just a little bit longer to dry right here where the elastic is at. But it wasn't a problem for me. I just let it air out that little bit longer overnight and it'd be completely dry. I like having it sewn in because it makes it more like an all-in-one. I tend to use these fitteds with wool covers that you just pull on. So it's kind of like using an all-in-one and then just pulling on their pants with the wool covers. So for me, these are a great option. Really inexpensive as far as fitteds go. It's like half the price of a lot of other fitteds out there. And I really, really liked them. They worked really well. for what I needed them to do. And they were my favorite daytime fitted for when I was using fitteds during the daytime. So they need a little bit of work for nighttime, but they are very good absorbent diapers. Now for nighttime use, as I was saying, I did use these at nighttime with my daughter. A lot of the times when they're first born, they really won't need much extra absorbency. These are mostly a daytime diaper. When they get old enough and they're drinking 6 ounces, 8 ounces, they won't be drinking 8 before they outgrow these probably. But when they're drinking 6 ounces at a go, these can leak through without an extra layer. And if you're like me at nighttime with newborns before they're sleeping through the night constantly, I like to skip a feeding for changing. So I'll change them and then feed them, and then halfway through the night I'll feed them again without changing if they're not poopy, and then I'll change them on the next one whenever that happens to be. And if you're doing that and they are drinking 4 to 6 ounces at a go, these will not hold up to 2 wettings during the night. So for nighttime usage, unless you're changing them every single time you feed your baby, for nighttime usage you'll need some sort of extra absorbency. So for me, we have the Clotheez doublers that we could use, and these ones absorb about 2 to 3 ounces more for the diaper, giving it just that little bit more absorbency that you would need. Some other options that we had, these ones are the hemp. There we go. These are the hemp inserts that GMD has, and these hold a lot more absorbency. So if you have a heavy wetter, the hemp ones are really nice for night times. They also have ones that have fleece sewn on for a stay dry layer, which are thicker than these ones that are just the hemp fabric. But those are also good options. Another option that I ended up using a lot was just one of the wipes. So right here is a terry velour wipe that I would just stick under the tongue because it fit better there. So I just stick it under the tongue and use it that way. And that would usually get me through 2 feedings with no problem. And she'd wake up after 2 feedings. She definitely needed to be changed, but it wasn't soaked all the way through everywhere, except for on extreme rare occasions with just the wipe. So, but my daughter wasn't the heaviest eater either. So keep that in mind for whatever it's worth. If you have a heavy wetter, the hemp inserts would be a really good option. So here she is at 1 week old and just a little bit under 8 pounds. This is the GMD newborn workhorse that has the Snapless fitted, and it works really well for getting a perfect little fit. You can see that these legs are nice and snug here, and it comes down underneath the belly button with no problems at all. I really liked these. These were my favorite daytime diapers that I used. They need a little bit more help for nighttime usage, but for the cost, you can definitely work with it. And they clean really, really well. They dry just as well as pre-folds with those couple of little spots that take a little bit more time. But again, you just air out those extra little bits overnight and they work great. I love these diapers and I hope you're willing to give them a try. And thank you for watching.